and I guess got mad that they cloned one of their classic Keytars. I got this because I'm a big fan of the 80s and I love to duplicate their sounds. There's a couple of things I love about this Keytar and a couple of things I don't really like so much. Okay. Because I'm experimenting with 80s sound, I wanted to get Keytars that come from that era. Instead of paying like $1,000 for like a classic SH-101, or get the boutique for $300, I wanted to experiment with this clone to see exactly what it could do. Okay. Okay. If you are looking for a Behringer MS 101 tutorial, look elsewhere. There's like a million other different videos on how to play this thing and what it can do. I would suggest look any of them up. But I do have some critiques about it, okay? Number one, I ordered this thing in April. My birthday is in April. I had this on a pre-order in April, and it took like, I don't know, 8 months for it to show up. And I got several different reasons for that. I've got reasons from the manufacturer that there was a manufacturing flaw. I heard from the distributor that because of the China tariffs, the production of these was set back several months, so that's why the release took so long. So that's my first like that kind of bugged me. Second of all, I know this is supposed to be a clone of a 1980s Keytar, but like, dude, there is no batteries, dude. There is no batteries whatsoever. If you actually want to strap this on and play it as a Keytar, you have to use an extension cord. And what's crappy is in all of my things, the cords, I can't find a thin extension cord. All I could find was a thick, like, Christmas lights extension cord. So I'm walking around in my studio with a thick cord and a thick audio cord just so I could play this as a Keytar. So at least the 1980s SH-101, it had like, I think it could take like 6 or 8 C batteries. So number one, this thing has no battery power. You have to plug it in. You can't even like, you can't walk around stage in this, dude. You're gonna fall over. Unless like that was my thing. Like every time I play music, I fall on stage. That should be like a thing. Like a whole band of Keytars, and all they do is fall over their cords on stage. Okay. Those are the couple of things that I don't like about this Keytar. What bugs me with the battery thing too, before I change subject, but what bugs me with the battery thing too is yet another clone is coming out of this keyboard. This is a clone of the Roland SH-101. This is the MS-1. I believe Superlative is coming out with an SB. It's called the Space B, which is a clone of this, so it's a clone of a clone. That's coming out April of next year. It's supposed to be thinner, it's supposed to be lighter, which is cool because this thing is heavy, dude. If you were wearing this for like 30 minutes on stage, your arm, your neck would be hurting. But let's get to the, but what I love about this thing, okay? Because it's a good clone of the original, it can do whatever the original SH-1 can do, and it's got a better sequencer arpeggiator on it. Let's see. Okay. Now what kills me with this is I, like a lot of people, am totally in over my head when it comes to analog synthesis. I come from a background of playing classical piano, so anything analog synthesis is kind of alien to me. So let's see what we got here. Now, you have your VCO, which is your oscillator. You have your source mixer, your VCF, VCA, and your envelope. from best of what I can tell when it comes to analog synthesis, you have an oscillator that makes sound, you have a filter that filters the sound and alters it, and of course you have the envelope generator, which will also filter and change the sound however way you want. So that's the way I look at it when I'm trying to change a patch or do something different. But what really gets me is if you want to play along with an analog synthesizer, you don't have to pay $300 for this, dude. My favorite Keytar is my Korg RK100 from the 80s, and it's like a 35-year-old Keytar, dude. I love this Keytar, not only because it's from the 1980s, but it's shaped like a lightning bolt. But as far as analog synthesis, I would start off with the Vocas. Basically, this thing is the same as a Voca bass and a Voca keys put together. When it comes to a Voca bass and a Voca keys, you have everything that you have all the same settings that you do that are on this thing. From your oscillator, from your filter, from all of that, dude, it's all right here as well. So if you want to play with synthesis, I would say get the Vocas first, and then maybe get this if you want to get more in depth. Let's talk about sound, okay? You get a nice arpeggiated sound out of this thing, and you can alter it. Let's see. What's so funny in the directions, dude, is they tell you just to play along with the buttons until you get the sound you like. That's kind of amazing. At least they put that in the log. Let's see. And this guy, I've got both of the Vocas hooked up to it. Now let's get the sound. Very analog sounding, very 70s, 80s sounding. Not quite the same, but darn near close to it. Now, again, I don't have an SH101, but I do have a Roland keyboard that does have the sounds of an SH101. Let's see. Let's go down to SH101. Let's pick an arpeggio. Listen to that. Hold it down. And I can alter it on the Juno stage. I can alter this SH101 sound. So, classic SH101 sound captured pretty darn well in this little keyboard, man. Captured pretty darn well, man. Okay. SH101 sound. Let's see. Not bad. Pretty close. Alright. Now, going back to likes and dislikes about this Keytar. As awesome as I dig on the sound, as malleable and controllable as all the sounds are on it, there's one or two things that bug me. Number one, there's no battery power, dude. At least in the new Superlative that's coming out next year, it's thinner, it's lighter, it's more expensive, but there's rechargeable battery on it, dude. Rechargeable battery, man. You don't have to walk around with a thick extension cord. You don't have to walk around for a thick extension cord for Christmas lights on stage so you could trip over it. Also, one more thing that really bugged me about the instruction book, and what's really funny is I never complain about instruction books, because I'm one of those geeks who will stay up late at night and read all of my manuals for each and every Keytar, each and every synthesizer, each and every sequencer I have, because I love to know exactly what they can do. Even on my Keytars, as old as they are, I've used everything on them that's able to use, from chord memory to patching into different like MIDI systems and making sequences and making albums off of a MIDI teacher. But what bugs me about this guide is not that it's written in like 4 or 5 different languages. That's actually really nice. It's really inclusive. But what gets me is, let's go to chapter 1. Chapter 1's in English, and then it says chapter 1 again in Spanish, and then it does chapter 1 again in French, okay? And then you go to chapter 2, and chapter 2 starts off in English, and then it starts off in Spanish, and then chapter 2 starts off again in French, and then it goes on and on and on like that, right? How come they just didn't put all the English together, all the French together, all the Spanish together in the book, right? So all you would have to do is read one chapter, not like 5 chapters of one language. Rather, you could just read one chapter rather than read 5 chapters. Like the first part of 5 chapters, you could read just one chapter in one language. Kind of confusing. Other than that, it's a pretty damn good Keytar. I'm really happy because of Pink and the Keytar Cat's review of the Sonogenic. I'm really happy I didn't get the Sonogenic. I'm happy I got this instead. I might get the Superlative in April. It's thinner. It's got a rechargeable battery. This one you have to clunk around with a giant Christmas light extension cord. Maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe I'll wrap up myself in Christmas lights or dress as a Christmas tree and then play this. But still, most of all, you gotta love your Keytar for the shape of it, the size of it, the feel of it. As old and as broke up as this Keytar is, this is still my favorite Keytar. And believe it or not, I think this is the cheapest Keytar I got. I got a used one of these for like $149, and I have a spare one of these just in case this one breaks. So I got like 2 of these. Gosh, speaking of Keytars, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to the studio soon. There will be a Christmas tree here in a month's time, so I'm gonna have to move to the spare bedroom. But okay, let's see this. I have the Roland Axe Edge. I have the Roland Axis, which is the first Roland Keytar. I have, of course, my Korg RK100. I have an RK100S in that one. I have a Alesis Vortex. And now I have the Behringer MS1. I think that's 7 Keytars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my goodness. I might have a little Keytar problem. Love and hugs and health and happiness and music and Keytars from Vegas.